Hello everyone, welcome to FedScoop TV. Greg Otto here, and we're coming from the Security Through Innovation Summit, and I'm talking with John Chirart, the Federal Technical Director for Tenable. John, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So how is Tenable helping the government improve its cybersecurity posture?
It's really interesting. We've been widely deployed in the government for many years, almost since our founding. And what we found over the years was that there was a lot of disconnected systems when it came to security within the enterprise. And the government has probably the largest attack surface out of anyone.
Right.
It also is a target that moves all the time. We've got ships that are deployed, submarines, we've got aircraft, we've got just about every possible attack surface. So given the history that we've had working with our government partners, we've found that we are just part of a solution.
Okay.
And what we need in order to be successful and to help our government partners be successful is to be a platform. Not one tool can do it by itself. And so what we found is we needed to embrace integrations with partners, and we needed to come together as an ecosystem. After September 11th, we looked at the intelligence community and said, hey, we all had this information, why weren't we sharing it? We've now taken that approach to cybersecurity with our government partners, and where we're actually serving as a platform to help share information with other vendors, because that solution is ultimately going to be what drives the ability to mitigate a lot of these issues.
So that information sharing, let's talk about that for a minute. Through public-private partnerships have been such a crucial model for government agencies. How do you see those partnerships maturing and improving moving forward?
I would say that biggest obstacle when it comes to public partners or private partnerships and stuff tends to be actually the procurement process.
Okay.
We still have not modernized IT procurement. We've done a lot of really great things in that area, but the traditional model has always been like the VAR model, for example.
Right.
We had to go through the resellers and stuff, but how does the VAR model work with, say, a marketplace? How do we bring cloud services to bear? Oftentimes, procurement really is the biggest hurdle to actually responding to emerging threats, and as fast as these threats keep coming out, we need that flexibility in procurement. So I think legislation has to actually catch up in order to help move that forward.
Okay, so on the technology side, you talked about moving fast. Automation. How can government agencies embrace automation as it moves up the chain of what's popular in cybersecurity?
So I'm a firm believer you can never automate something you can't do manually.
Okay.
And I think the biggest thing is process. And we've seen with the cybersecurity framework and the risk management framework the need to automate. Now, yet again, that's only possible if you could take this process and analyze it and then realize all the players in it. And that's where the ecosystem and the platform comes into play, because everyone that has a part in the security process has to be in line with that automation process for it to work. So we need to get better about orchestration. We need to think about orchestration as part of the planning process, and how do we actually take that. Now, there's a lot of talk in the industry right now around endpoint.
Right.
And it's interesting because if you look at endpoint in one aspect, we're still talking about laptops and desktops. And 17 years ago, we were slapping Y2K ready stickers on machines. I would have thought we would have solved the problem back then, but we still haven't solved that endpoint. But the problem is we have a modern endpoint. DevOps is taking the enterprise by storm. Where companies like Docker have disrupted the traditional model.
Right.
And so we're still trying to tackle the problem and the tech debt from the original endpoint, when in reality the application is the modern endpoint. So I see a big push in the areas of web application scanning, container security, and all that. And DevOps itself inherently is pure automation. So in order to get to an agile framework, you have to follow automated workflow. So I think we can look to DevOps as a way to solve some of our tech debt in the past and move forward. But in reality, automation and orchestration is really the most important part of changing the status quo when it comes to security. But that takes a lot of planning.
Okay, so what else can government agencies do to improve their cybersecurity posture? What's one or two things they could do over a 6-month period in order to really take care of some low-hanging fruit?
Well, obviously automation is big, but that's not something that happens right away.
Right.
I would say procurement, obviously we've touched on that, but the other thing too is actually the bureaucracy involved in getting new technologies. Okay. I would say the ATO process, though a fantastic and very important process, I think we need to streamline that. I think there needs to be better orchestration of the ATO process. In many cases, it can take up to 24 months to get software solutions introduced into the enterprise. And as we know in IT, that's like dog years.
Right. Right.
And so really the ATO process has been a big hindrance. We were so paranoid in this monolithic architecture world where we had to accredit every .x release that the ATO process has not evolved sufficiently to accept things like Agile framework. And so we need to make sure we find a way to cut the bureaucracy down and minimize it so that way the process itself doesn't become part of the problem.
Okay. All right. John, appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for your insight.
Thank you.
For all of our videos, check out our YouTube channel, and for more information, check out fedscoop.com. I'm Greg Otto. Thanks for watching.